it's SeaMystic back here with another pick a card. So for those of you who have watched my previous videos, you know why it's taking a bit longer in between posting. That situation is improving. There's been a lot of positive progress in that. It's just going to take some more patience. But it is stressing me out a lot and making it harder to tune in, and certainly taking up a lot of time. So I haven't been able to post as frequently, but that's going to change, and it's not because I don't want to. Just to remind you, I've been afraid that I'm going to lose followers and things like that. So I'm just wanted again to remind you, it's not because I don't want to. So this is a pick a card part 2 to the last video, Cosmic Pirate. If you want to know what the hell a Cosmic Pirate is, I explained that in the last video. This one's going to be focusing more so around galactic or cosmic energies, your soul's essence, where it came from, and potentially your first incarnation. So I know everybody has different beliefs. Myself, if you follow or you've read my description box, you know that I'm not 100% convinced about the concept of starseeds, although I would love for it to be true. But it's something that's impossible to prove, at least right now. But I do believe in energies, and this is something that you could use if you're not comfortable with the concept or familiar with the concept. You can look at it as energies. Every planet has an energy. Everything has energy. Your words have energy. So these different starseed origins you could look at as an energy, an expression that some people perceive as a certain figure or race. I hope I explained that well enough. I just know that there's most of you are comfortable with this topic, obviously, if you're watching. But I know that I have a couple, well, Mom, I'm looking at you, who may not be familiar or comfortable or understand the concept as well. So I'm just giving you that option to look at it more as an energy instead of an actual like 3D race, actual aliens, but more so of an expression of energy. So also, I'm going to be using my own deck that I made. My handwriting is not the best, and I was in a hurry. I had all the information in my head, just really impatient trying to get it down. So there's 74 cards, and this is going to include locations where your soul could have started from, what type of soul, even expressions like I just mentioned. So that would be races, things like that. Everything is in here. That's why I'm not using any other deck, because this basically covers everything that I can currently think of. And then for the ones I can't think of, I put unknown or other for each different category. So nothing's really left out here. Whilst I did pull from various sources, I primarily pulled from Nazama, the Hebrew mystic healer. You've probably heard me mention her before on this channel. She has a lot of different videos on a lot of the lesser known starseeds, and she does her own drawings of them, which if you've watched my last 2 videos, you know this is something I had always wanted to do, and why I resonated with her. One of the reasons why I resonated with her so heavily when I came across her. And the soul types that are featured in these cards, that information also came from her. I will link everything in the description and her Facebook page where you can look at her services and maybe even book a reading with her. And I will also put a link to Russell's channel from Wrestling Around, as he is the one who inspired the Cosmic Pirate series. I am in the process of creating a deck, an actual printed one, that looks a little bit better. I've been wanting to do this for a couple years, and I have started to at different points, but when I wrote this one out, I was like, this is needed. I already have the blueprint for it, so I started on the rough draft of the designs and everything, to have a very detailed, I'm talking Virgo detailed deck of Starseed origins or soul origins, resonances, however you want to look at it. So the quick collective, there's going to be a lot of revelation. This could come in the form of like a realization that you have yourself. This could come in the form of news. Either way, it's going to be shocking or surprising. And for some of you, it could be something that confirms something that you were right about all along. Now, whether this is good or bad is going to depend on your situation. There's a lot of Ace of Cups and Fool energies coming out. If you do a lot of readings, you'll probably see these come out. So this is going to be the potential, the opportunity, and it's going to be in cups. So there's going to be love, emotion, spirituality. And the Fool, that's basically starting from zero, ground zero. So this is like new beginnings, traveling, things like that. It's clean slate sort of energy. So I did try to channel a little bit, and I saw the word sound. And what was interesting about this, it may not be interesting to you, but it really interested me, because when I channel and I see words, they're always uppercase. It's almost never lowercase. And even the numbers, they look very digital, like you would see on an alarm clock. So the S was capitalized and the rest wasn't. So it just stood out to me and it was so clear. And like I say, they haven't been as clear lately because I've been, my brain has been focused on the situation with my family, and it's, I guess the stress has made it harder to connect, but that was super clear. So there's something with sound that's significant. Pay attention to animals. I've been seeing a lot about eagles. That could be personal to me. So if you start seeing a different animal pop up all the time, go with what pops up for you. But eagles could be for every collective, or it could just be personal. But animals in general, you're going to start getting some messages there. So as far as astrology goes, so we've got the Uranus conjunct Venus. So this is going to be, think back in time to what you were doing about May 2019, March of 2020, April of 2021. Any of those times, not this one, any of those times was the effect of Venus conjunct Uranus. So significant things could have happened. So it's going to be something a little similar to that sort of energy popping up again. I don't really know the significance of these two for me, but March 2020 was very significant. That's actually when I had my spiritual awakening. And I just realized that I didn't have the mic plugged in. Hold on. So this is better. And then as far as the full moon on the 14th, this is going to be similar to what was going on with you in December 2021. So you can think back to that, and that'll be sort of linked to that somehow. So that was the collective. We have 8 groups to choose from, as you can see. Now, these don't have hardly anything in them because I wanted to get originally I wanted just to get one word, but I decided to get 2 because I felt like trying to get just one word was sort of blocking in a way. So there's 2, I think, for the majority. But like I say, we have these detailed cards here. So choose whichever one you're drawn to. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you need more time to choose which one, go ahead and pause. The timestamps will be in the description box below, as always. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey, for those of you who chose group 1, let's go ahead and dive in as mermaids do. We'll start with your channel messages. Like I said in the intro, there's only a couple. Okay, So the first thing I saw for you was Hera. So Hera is the goddess of marriage and birth. This was a wife of Zeus, the equivalent of Juno. Hera is the equivalent of Juno. And then Zara, so that could be Hebrew for seed, or Arabic for flower or star. I didn't write this down, but now I'm thinking you could be a literal starseed. Not a starseed like you're probably thinking. A starseed is in you emanated from a certain star. But yeah, I literally just now realized starseed. But divine feminine, and there could be something with flowers too. Plants. But I was getting the divine feminine energy. So this is the energy of love. So I think your soul started somehow out of the collective energy of the divine feminine and was sort of a branch off of that. I think if you were traced back, you would have originated in that energy of the divine feminine, is what I'm trying to get at here. There are a few star systems that carry that energy heavily. Sirius, let's see, Venusian, Hydra, there's more. But that's what I'm getting. It's like you branched out of that or bloomed out of that. So, to the cards. Oops. I think that's too many. All right. So you have elven on the bottom. You could have been elf-like. But, so you could have been an earth seed. Could have been an elemental. So I put planetary. Oh, these all go together. Because we had the elements water, fire, air, earth. But if you're talking about, like, let's say Mercury, you're not going to find earth on Mercury because that element is earth. So the element would be whatever planet. So whatever planet you were from, you were an element. You could have been an elemental of that. But it looks like it could have been Earth. And it's funny that we have Elven because you could have literally your first expression could have been feminine as an elemental. For some of you, that could be. Let's see if it's an Earth elemental. That does give me Fae, elf, gnome sort of energy there. Here's an example of a wood elf being, and this was drawn by Nazama, the Hebrew mystic healer. Let's see, human. So you could have, some of you, since this is a general reading, some of you, your first incarnation would have been elven. Some of you would have been human. This is very interesting that you guys are getting a lot about Earth here. Okay, and the Pleiades, that's in Taurus. That's helpers, can repress emotions. They look Nordic or can be tall, blue, humanoid. Just a couple examples. There's probably more. And then we have. Okay, some of you could have been from the lower realm, so that would be a new soul. So that would explain human. Or a recycled soul. That means that I'll put information about what a new and recycled soul is in the description box, but it's basically one that ends is starting all over again is new. So that could be from the abyssal realm, the shadow realm, infernal or ice realms, plant or mineral realm, and we did mention flower and plants, or the underworld in general. So some of you, looks like it's a split group here, which is not surprising. Some of you started out as humans, some of you started out as flowers, or flower elves, or flower fae. Flowers, elves. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and separate these into the categories. So some of you started out in the Pleiades. Some of you started out on Earth. Some of you were human. Some of you were elven. But as far as your soul goes, could have been an elemental, and some of you are going to be a new or recycled soul. So that would be the humans, that would go along with the humans. For the elementals, that would probably be more of the elven. Let's see. So some of you, that could, what I'm getting is it's two separate groups, like a Pleiadian elemental elven being, or an earth human, new soul, or like I say, some of you could have started out from the plant, from flowers. But either way, it does seem that all of you have in common something about the divine feminine energy coming from that. We have Fae on the bottom of the deck. So that is what I have for you. If it resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Anything like that really does help to circulate and support the channel. I do hope to see you next time. Take care and God bless. Hey, for those of you who chose group 2, let's go ahead and dive in as mermaids do. We'll start with your channel messages. So, I actually saw something with you guys, and it took me on a wild goose chase to figure out what it was. But I'm going to shuffle these real quick. But I saw a figure, and that actually didn't happen with anybody else as detailed as it did the way it did with you guys. So it was a greenish figure with either spots or maybe shaded areas. It looked dimensional, spotty, but it was green. More of a green can look kind of bluish or lean more toward gray. But this green leaned a little bit more toward the yellow spectrum, but it wasn't like bright neon or anything. It was just a green with the more little on the yellow spectrum. And what stuck out to me the most was the eyes. So they were black around, and I'll show a picture. It didn't look like what's in the picture, because what's in the picture is a bird being. But the eyes looked very similar, dark around the eye, black, and then the iris being yellow. I saw it well enough to see that the pupil was circular. That is not very common with what I thought it was, because it had a head that was, there was something, it wasn't like just a round head. Think of like a triceratops, how there's some dimension going on. So it made me think of, for some reason, amphibian. For context, here's an example of an amphibian drawn by Nazama, the Hebrew mystic healer. But I didn't see lips like that. But I don't think so anymore. But it didn't have, I didn't see a beak. It's not too different shape-wise from the picture with the blue bird, but there were spots, and like I say, no beak. And there was a mouth, no lips or anything. It was just sort of a slit, but it seemed like it was smiling almost. So it was happy, whatever it was. And like I say, for some reason, amphibian popped into my head, but I'm not so sure about that. So I did some research, but we'll get to that in a minute on what that could have been. But then I saw Rigel. So that's a star in Orion. And let's see, EHZE. So that could mean shake or jolt, vibration, and that's going to be Arabic. And a lot of the words I channeled, for some reason, for this particular galactic reading, were mostly Arabic if they weren't English. Thought that was incredibly interesting. But this is significant, and I'll tell you why in a sec. So like I say, it did have the shape of an avian head, but no beak, and I don't know. Like I say, it could have been an amphibian, reptilian, but I'm also getting energy of primordial void with the shake and jolt energy. And last but not least, I came across a picture of the Anunnaki, and that's what I think this was, because they have bright yellow eyes, green skin with spots. A lot of depictions depict them in this way. So I'm leaning toward that. And I was looking on Nazama, the Hebrew Mystic Healer. Her channel is where I get some information. And I had no idea. I mean, I've known her for a couple years. I had no idea that she was actually, well, I knew she was Anunnaki Nibiru is what she, says her origin is, but I didn't know that it was actually her first incarnation was Rigel. I did not know that. So that's possible. There's a connection there. I did not know that before this. So, and even whenever I figured out it was Anunnaki, I still didn't know about Rigel being an incarnation where they went to. Some went to Sirius, and some went to, allegedly, and some went to, let's see, Sirius, Orion, and Draco, I think. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting. So I think you, most of you, at least, were from the void. Basically meaning you were here from the beginning and you helped to create everything. Started out probably as primordial dragons or Anunnaki. Could have been amphibian for others of you, or reptilian, maybe even some sort of avian, just because the eyes. But aside from that, the drawings that Nazama has, where she does drawings of different, races and things, the ones that had the circular pupil were always elven, angelic. Yeah, I think they were mainly elven, angelic beings. Tend to lean more toward the circular pupil. Maybe avian too. But yeah, so it could be something with one of those. So that's what I got for you. Now let's get these very detailed cards. There's different categories in here too. Group 2. Soul origins, original resonances, the first expressions in the universe. That wanted to come out. Group 2. Group 2. Group 2's first energies. Alright. Bottom of the deck. Unknown or other. Okay. Oh, okay. Did not see that one coming. So 2 of these came out for the first group. So you were an elemental. Like there's elementals for air, water, fire, and earth, but not every planet is earth, so I just put planetary. So think of it as like an earth elemental for whatever planet. And then this could have been in the Pleiades, and they tend to be Nordic or very tall blue humanoids. But there are others there. Let's see. So, as far as your soul goes, this would be like, yeah, this would be the location. Most of you Pleiades or Rigel or primordial void. As far as what you looked like, you could have been one of these species that I talked about, or an elemental, or both. You could have been an elemental that looked like that, is what I'm saying. Like an elemental amphibian, and elemental reptilian looking being, you know, more of the dinosaur raptor looking reptilians. Let's see. There's something with vibration too. Okay, so as far as your soul goes though, we have two options here. We have interdimensional or structural support. This one is not going to be for hardly any of you. This one is very, 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 very rare. So your first soul, like the very first energy where you came out of, for like maybe one of you, could have been a structural support energy, which means ley lines, grids, portals, stargates, doorways, Torian fields, basically universal mainframes. So, for example, like different dimensional doorways, you could have been that. You could have been the actual dimensional doorway, stargate, grid line, or ley lines, or grid, portal, coming from that. That's why it's so rare, because this is structural support of the universe, basically. It's saying like, oh yeah, you could have been a portal. That's not going to be super common at all. So I know this is a bit confusing for some of you, and some of you are going to be really interested, but I'm going to leave videos in the description that will have Nazama explain it much, much better than I can, because there's things I'm good at and there's things I'm not, okay? So others of you, your soul was interdimensional. That means you came from a different dimension. So that could be, let's see, usually celestial, but it could have been, there's different spectrum levels. That's ultra, quantum, and intras. Yeah, you got the weird ones, guys. You definitely did. And you were actually like the only group that got such a detailed visual. So you definitely came, you guys got the weird ones, so you definitely were something to do with the beginning. Shake, jolt, vibration. Yeah, it's like the original sort of building blocks of the universe sort of stuff. I mean, spectrum levels, portals. But this is not even, I know we didn't get primordial, but something along the lines there. But when you actually took a form, it probably looked something like what I described here. And that could have been in the Pleiades or Rigel and Orion. Like I say, elemental. Yeah, I could see that. Elementals are a lot like angels, except they have angels, like, you know, want to help and protect individuals. Elementals want to help and protect whatever element it is for them. So they're the same like angels, but they protect certain things. With that being said, some sort of angel or elemental, or L, because you were here. This is very close to source energy. This is very, 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 very high vibrational energy here, and probably from the beginning, which so was Anunnaki, and we said primordial void here. So yeah, this is like OG type stuff here. Very high vibrational. So you probably know a lot. Stuff that I'm probably not even familiar of yet, you know? Very, very interesting. So that is what I have for you. If it resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment, anything like that. It really does help to circulate and support the channel. I do hope to see you next time. Take care and God bless. Hey, for those of you who chose group 3, let's go ahead and dive in as mermaids do. We'll start with your channel messages first. Like I said in the intro, there's not a lot, but we have very detailed cards to work with. So what I saw for you was Vega. So not everyone, hardly anyone, got an actual place. But you got Vega, and then I saw a snake's head. So Vega is in Lyra. The snake, that could have been representing serpents, wisdom of the underworld, ancestral realm. Let's see, transformation. 369 could be significant, and lunar cycles as well. Could also be referencing Hydra or Draco. And the elements of earth and water could be significant. And Vega, usually there are blue humanoids there. Some reptilians or insectoids, usually green with those, or black if humanoid. So let's get some cards. We have interdimensional soul on the bottom. So there are different categories. If you get a lot of different categories, I will separate them for you. Let's see. It's another expression. Oh. Y'all, you got serpentine. Told you. And also shadow. So gray we mentioned the reptilians and Draco and the underworld. So yeah, serpents deals a lot with the shadow aspect of things. I will put a link in the description. So does Shala, and that's in Scorpio. So you could have been from, let's see, serpents, constellation. Hydra deals a lot with shadow as well. So serpents, Hydra, or Scorpio constellation. And shadow isn't necessarily, bad, isn't bad like you think. Shadow is pain, fear, the shadow self, dealing with that. However, for some of you, it is going to be, you could have been a negative entity. You could have been a negative being in your past, and there could be a lot of karma involved with that. You could have been, like, not all draconians or reptilians or grays are bad, but a lot of them are. So you could have been one of them, and that could be, like I say, something that that you have in your shadow subconscious that you got to work through and deal with, perhaps. But others of you were serpentine beings. Some of you were Lemurian or human. So expression. That's a race, so that's an expression. That's a race, so that's an expression. So you've got a lot of different expressions here. So some of you were human, some of you Lemurian. If you are rooted on Earth, serpentine, or shadow. So as far as location goes, we have Procyon and Arcturus, or Arcturian. So Procyon, that's in Canis Minor. You could resonate a lot, or this could have been where you first incarnated or first came from. So Procyonians involved with technology, fitness. They're very fixed, and they are some of them think of them as the architects of the new age of Aquarius. And this is kind of similar with the technology and things like that with Arcturian. That's in the Boots constellation. And then they're also architects. That is crazy. Sorry. Yeah, that's weird. Okay. They deal a lot with communication. Symbols. They can be kind of aloof. Sensitive to light and sounds. And they can be elven-like. This is interesting. So there's something with architecture, science, and technology here. Math, geometry, definitely. Some of you were reptilian or draconian or gray in the negative, like I said, some in the positive. Some of you were just serpentine beings on Serpens, Hydra, Shala. But let's see. Some of you have incarnations in Lemuria, like I say, and of course human. But let's not forget Vega. Vega was destroyed by, allegedly, by these the quote-unquote negative reptilian is what destroyed Vega. So maybe some of you aren't in the shadow, but you've had experience with these beings because they destroyed your home. If you feel like, if you feel out of place in the world, like you're longing for home and you want to go home, if you have that sort of feeling, then you were definitely vegan and you were not a negative shadow version of a reptilian. Let's see. If you were human, humanoid, they were usually closer to black color. And let's see, they do have reptilians and insectoids on Vega. Let's see, water, earth element could be important. Water. There could be something with Lemuria and serpentine and water. Could be something with Quetzalcoatl as well. So yeah, very interesting. Like I say, on the bottom of the deck, we had interdimensional. Usually they're celestial beings from a different dimension. The different spectrum levels is what it means. So that's ultra, quantum, and intras. I'll put links to Nazalma's videos for more info on that. This one fell out. Other or unknown. So something I'm not familiar with. Or nobody is familiar with at the moment. So that is what I have for you. If it resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Anything like that really does help to circulate and support the channel. I do hope to see you next time. Take care and God bless. Hey, for those of you who chose group 4, let's go ahead and dive in as mermaids do. We'll start with your channeled. As I mentioned in the intro, there's not much on here because there's a lot of groups and I have very detailed cards. And like I say, the stress has made it more difficult to tune in, but I got what I could here. So the first thing I saw was, and not many people, I think three groups got some sort of visual. Yours was the second to most detailed. I saw a gray lizard's head and it looked sort of like an iguana-ish, and it had very small black eyes. And then I saw NASA, so there could be some sort of NASA involvement there. So what I'm getting from that is you could have been part of Zeta Reticuli, a gray from there, or a Draco gray, some sort of reptilian. You look very saurian. For context, this is a saurian reptilian drawn by Nazalma, the Hebrew mystic healer. And also, let's see, saurian is more the raptor-looking reptilians, more the dino-ish. But also, I found out that Safe from Orion, it's a constellation, they're the Sin Eaters. or the shadow hunters, they all have black eyes. So it's about transmutation. So there could be something with that. That could have been where you incarnated, was safe. SAIPH, like I say, Zeta Reticuli, or Draco, somewhere in Draco. But there is some sort of NASA link here, interestingly. And it wasn't a lizard being, it was just a lizard. And I couldn't find like anything about any gray lizards with black eyes on the internet. So, I don't know. Let's get some detailed cards. For origins. No. Well, you got plenty. Orion. They're all about polarity, logic. They could be entrepreneurs or very opinionated, and there's a variety of different kinds, so I didn't bother writing them. But yeah, reptilians definitely could be there. So, oh, you're a primordial dragon for some of you. That's all I needed to see was those two. Okay, a primordial dragon, and we did have a lizard, so that explains that. And a lot of the primordials did incarnate first in Orion. And Draco. And like I say, safe is in Orion. So, the others, air, also could have been a dragon with that. But definitely some sort of reptilian version of an elemental or primordial. Then some of you are going to be first incarnation Earth, but I don't know. If so, you would have at least been an elemental. Well, I guess it's true. You could come from the primordial void and your first incarnation be Earth. That's not out of the realm of possibility here. Or Hydra. So those are going to be humanoid or serpentine. They have 9 heads, and they're all about regeneration. They're very regenerative people. Deals a lot with grid work. And wounds of being like demonized. Wounds of demonization or abandonment, particularly in regard to the dark mother or dark feminine energy being demonized. The shadow wounds of the divine feminine, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So it could be about transmuting that. Yeah, definitely have been through some stuff here. But also seems to be from the beginning. I mean, souls that come from the void, they're primordial. They could be chaos monsters. They could be, and I'll put links in the description of Nazama's video that explains these a little bit better. She's better at explaining. Chaos monsters, the Titans, so those are going to be of chaos and order, or higher or lower realms, quote-unquote gods. Angels, so some of you could have been an angel, or celestial, but they could basically, if you're from the primordial void, you can incarnate anywhere, like I say, including Earth as your first incarnation. But some of you, it was Hydra. And you were elementals or angels. Elementals are a lot like angels. Elementals are just like angels, but they protect certain elements. So there's a lot of overlap there, and they're equally very high vibrational. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not. Yeah. Very, very interesting. Some of you could have been hybrids as well. I would say some sort of This is non-humanoid, so I would say dragon. Wait. Non-humanoid hybrid. And what I saw was definitely not a humanoid lizard. It was a straight up lizard. So yeah, definitely primordial dragon energy heavy. Elemental heavy. So this is very advanced, people. This is ancient stuff. Ancient is an understatement here. And primordials are all about creation. So, interesting. That's what I have for you. If it resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment, anything like that. Wait, have I mentioned Quetzalcoatl? Because you have air, you have serpentine, you have dragon, you have hybrid. The feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl. There could be something with that also. Also, really quick, with hybrid, it could have been something like this, which is an avian serpentine hybrid, again by Nazama. So that is what I have for you. If it resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment, or Ling Dragon. They're more serpentine. Sorry. Because like I said, we have Hydra here. So, if that resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment, anything like that really does help to circulate and support the channel. I do hope to see you next time. Take care and God bless. Hey, for those of you who chose Group 5, let's go ahead and dive in as mermaids do. We'll start with your channel messages. Like I said, the intro, there's not much on here because there's a lot of groups and other reasons. But I saw heart for you. Okay, this card fell. I saw heart for you, and then the word Sera, S-E-R-A. So there's a few things I'm getting with that, a few possibilities. So heart, you could be born out of the energy, or your soul expression could have came from the energy of love or source. And then Sera, so that's plural for serum. Also, I saw something about geese for that meaning, or it could be evening. Okay, Sarah. So it could also mean will be. So will be. Be will be. And being from heart, and the energy of the heart. Love, the heart of source. Huh. But also I noticed that it's I noticed that it's RS backwards. So I know you're not going to understand my train of thought, but I saw that and was thinking about mirrors or counters of something. And I looked at RS and figured out that there are two children, Eros. So that's going to be love in the form of passion, like Cupid. Eros is Cupid, E-R-O-S. That's RS, his son. Eros is twin, his other son, is Anteros. So that's actually counter love. And when I saw the word counter love, and I'm like, counter, and I had just thought of counter with these. So I know it's confusing, and you're like, how did you get that from that? But just trust me on this one. Some of you are going to be from the energy of Anteros. And that is all about counter love and compassion. What is counter love? Counter love is reciprocated love. It is compassion. It is unconditional love. It's not love from passion. It is from compassion. It is not love of yearning or lust. It is love of reciprocity. So it's a very beautiful energy. I don't know why this is a lesser known deity, but it is for some reason. It's a very beautiful energy. And I also got from Sarah, seraphim. Coincidentally, Anteros is part of the cherubim. So angels, we have seraphim, cherubim, it all links back. It all links back to some sort of angel being from the heart. And angels come from the highest realms. So angels are closest to source. So if you're from the heart of source, that's going to be the closest. So for a lot of you, this is going to be, you're basically an angel. No other way to put it there. But there are some other possibilities that we'll look into since this is a general reading. So, so you could be primordial. That means you were here from the very beginning, which includes angels. Just saying. All right. So, so we have air, fae. So you could have been an elemental or a fae. Also, elementals are the same as angels. Elementals protect certain elements, but they're basically the same. They're the same high vibration. So some of you are going to be primordial angels. Some of you are going to be primordial elementals. And you would have looked more fae-like. See, and the location could have been in the Taurus constellation, Aldebaran. So you could be Aldebaran. And they are known as the guiding light. And oh my God, sorry. The only thing I could find out about Aldebaran starseeds were that they're like a guiding light, and they are associated heavily with Archangel Michael energy. And we have been talking about angels. Weird. And then Monoceros. So that's a very magical energy. Easily connect to higher realms. Okay. The reason they connect so easily to higher realms is because they are very high vibrational. This is known as like the constellation, the unicorn. They need a sacred space. So you are freaking very high vibrational. A lot of heart. Well, if you're not now, just know that the origin of your soul came from love. Got a sequin there. Came from love. A lot of it was angelic. Some of you were angelic. Some of you were elemental. You would have looked fae-like. Some of you were from the Taurus constellation. Some of you were from, so that would be the bull, and some of you are from Monoceros, and that would be the unicorn constellation. Crazy. Like from the beginning, from the void. Like there's really nothing else to say here. This is the very short one. This is probably the shortest one, but it's the most beautiful one, I can say. Don't get mad if you're coming from a different group. But yeah, it's very beautiful energy, very high vibration. This is the energy of an earth angel. This is an earth angel energy. You probably think this world is very cruel. You probably are very protective. You probably are very empathic and compassionate and hate to see people suffer and in pain. Very sensitive to all the energies in the 3D. It probably feels very dense for you. You probably would rather live in a fantasy world in your head or isolate yourself. Like I say, create a sacred space. And some of you, take that energy and fight for justice with the Archangel Michael energy, and you're a guiding light for others. Some of you. So, wow. Very, very beautiful. So that is what I have for you. If it resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Anything like that really does help to circulate and support the channel. I do hope to see you next time. Take care and God bless. Hey, for those of you who chose group 6, let's go ahead and dive in as mermaids do. We'll start with your channel messages. There are not very many if you didn't watch the intro. So I saw Hagen and Cheshire, I don't know. But anyway, Hagen, that means fire, or it's an Irish name for the son of A. That's A-O-D-H, but it's pronounced A or A or something like that. So that's the god of the underworld. So very interesting there. There could be an Irish connection as well. Cheshire, that can mean whittle, sting, reap, things of that sort. So with these two words here, what I got was you could be a Scorpius, you could be Shala, you could have been a fire elemental from Draco, for example, or you could have been some sort of reaper. You could have came from the low realms. the Inferno or Ice Realm, something like that. But yeah, that's what I'm getting, some sort of Shadow Hunter, which would be safe in Orion. That's SAIPH in Orion, is another example of something that you could have been here. So son of A, so you could have been a demigod, which is sort of like an angel, or a titan. I'm gonna write those down. Said elemental, demigod, and then titan from a low realm, even. Yeah. The Shala, they're wisdom keepers of the underworld, is why I wanted to write that first. And then fire elemental, obviously, because fire here. And Drago, because I was getting, this could be dragon energy. But Whittle, Reap, Sting. Also, Sting with Scorpius. Scorpion Stinger is Shala. That's the heart of this, that's the shadow of the Scorpion Stinger energy. So, it's a no-brainer with that one. But these are other possibilities, like I said. So, what about the cards? Let's get the very detailed cards. Group 6. Origins. Group 6. Group 6. Group 6. So, are you dick right now? So we have, you could have been a shadow expression. That could have been a shadow expression of a gray, reptilian, or draconian. So that would be like a low realm, underworld type of energy. We'll go along with that because the low realms do deal with the shadow. Shadow doesn't necessarily have to be bad or evil. It could be things like fears, pain, any sort of heartache. Shadow can be a multiple different things here. It doesn't necessarily mean evil. But then again, you could have had an expression where you were very cruel, but that's not going to be for everyone, as this is a general reading. So, Serpens. So you could, if you are from Serpens, you could be in tune with like the 3-month cycles or lunar cycles. Ancestral realm, which is an underworld realm. Past life memories could be something that keep popping up for you. You could get visited by spirits a lot. They are known as wisdom keepers of the underworld. I thought this was a different constellation, but it's not. I just got corrected. Did I call these the wisdom keepers of the underworld? Because they're not. It's the Serpens. So they corrected me. I mean, I got it right in this part, but not in the guessing part. I mean, I still think some of you could have been Shala, but I was getting the wisdom keepers of the underworld confused. So, wisdom keepers of the underworld, we talked about that. So, these were large serpentine, if you're from here, most of them looked like large serpents, like large anaconda, allegedly. I'll leave info in the description box if you're interested in anything like that, but, so that's if you were from Serpens. Yeah, we did get dragon energy for the fire elemental. Alright, and then could have been amphibian as well, for others of you. Let's see, some of you could have been from Regulus, we'll get to that in a second. Or Hydra, that's another serpentine thing here. Or, let's see, Cassiopeia. So, if you are from Regulus, That's in the Leo constellation. That's known as the heart of the lion. People like that are usually very noble. They are advocates, and they have a fierce heart. They're from the golden ray, and their eyes are usually gold. Usually have wings. They usually have golden or white, or they're usually golden or white lions, or some sort of hybrid, like a humanoid lion, golden or white. Here's an example of a Regulus being, and this was drawn by Nazalma, the Hebrew mystic healer. If you incarnated in Hydra, so Hydra is the snake with 9 heads. They're all about regeneration, all about grid work. They deal a lot with the wounds, the divine feminine wounds of demonization or abandonment. And they were humanoid or serpentine. So for those of you that were from Cassiopeia, this is going to be people who are all about unconditional love, service. They're very regal. So there's 2 references to regality here. And then they were also humanoid and translucent green or violet. So you could have been an elemental from one of those places, a demigod or titan from one of those places. Others of you were a shadow or had to deal with a lot of shadow in that lifetime, not on your, like, not from you, but to you, if that makes sense. Like, you might have shadow of your home being destroyed or something like that. But like I say, the Hydra, they deal a lot with the wounds of the divine feminine, where the divine feminine energies throughout time have been sometimes demonized, sometimes there's even abandonment wounds here. So things like that could be the shadow as well. Like I say, there's a nobility and advocacy with some of you. That could be like the endings and beginnings of cycles. Transmuting that shadow energy and becoming an advocate sort of energy. Yeah, most of you were some sort of reptile, like a serpentine, or some of you even amphibian. Something, so there's water connection here, but also fire. If you were amphibian, I would say maybe some sort of elemental even. A water element that looked amphibian. If you were a fire elemental, I would say more of a dragon looking or serpent looking from any of these locations. Some of you, it's going to be Regulus. Some of you, it's going to be a Hydra. Some of you, it's going to be Cassiopeia. Some of you, it's going to be Shala in Scorpius. Some of you, it's going to be Low Realm, or let's see, Orion or Draco. Very interesting group here. So I hope that wasn't confusing. I'll try to edit it so it's not as confusing. If it resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Anything like that really does help to circulate and support the channel. I do hope to see you next time. Take care and God bless. Hey, for those of you who chose group 7, let's go ahead and dive in as mermaids do. Like I said, there's only a couple things channeled for each group. If you didn't watch the intro, the first thing I saw for you was Terra. Terra could mean earth, but that's also the goddess of compassion. And then I saw Anik, which is Anik or something. So that name means soldier. So with compassion and soldier, I was getting a lot of advocacy and avenging type of energy. So that could be places like the Hyades, Regulus, well, anywhere in Taurus, Archangel Michael sort of energy. So your soul originally, it was some sort of extension of that type of energy. It came from that, branched off of that. So let's get some more possibilities here with this detailed deck. Group 7. Group 7. Group 7. I'm planning on getting one more. You have plenty, but all right. So some of you could have came from Shaula. That's in Scorpius. So that's the shadow of the scorpion stinger. They deal with, let's see, they are usually mediums or shamans, and they can be quite hard on themselves. Soul expressions that are there are usually reptilian, avian, arachnid, which can include a scorpion shape because scorpions are arachnids, or insectoid like mantis or hornet. Some of you are like, what?
Wow. Crazy. You're crazy, girl.
Okay. So some of you came from the primordial. So some of you came from the primordial void, which means you were the original makers of the universe. So if so, that could be a chaos monster, titans, which involve chaos and order, or higher and lower realms, quote unquote gods, which you had Terra, angels, celestial, usually incarnate in the celestial realm, but can originally incarnate anywhere. So we have insectoid here, and like I said here, there could be insectoids on Shaula, and that's going to be mantis or hornets usually. For context, here's an insectoid, a butterfly insectoid from Shaula by Nazama, the Hebrew mystic healer. And her depiction of a scorpion insectoid. Here's one of an elemental insectoid, again by Nazama, the Hebrew mystic healer. Water, elemental. So it's not uncommon for elementals to, which are similar to angels, to come from the void. So yeah. So it could be something that is unknown to me, not in these cards, or unknown in general for some of you. Let's see. Some of you are interdimensional souls. That means coming from a different dimension, usually incarnate celestially. So there's no earth here. There's been earth in a lot of groups, but yours does not seem to have that. Yours seems to be solely celestial, and this is going to be elemental, demigod, or god sort of, god sort of energy. You could have looked insectoid, or like a scorpion, something like that, or something that I'm not aware of, or that is unknown. And I think it could have been some sort of extension of Terra, but also there's the element of being a soldier. So there's that advocacy element to it, that archangel element to it, Archangel Michael. So Hyades, Regulus, Shaula could have been where you first incarnated, as far as where your soul is from, primordial. That means from the beginning. There are different categories. You might have to watch it a couple times if some of this is new to you. And if I haven't mentioned it, there will be videos in the description that break some of these down a little bit better. So that could be at the spectrum levels for interdimensional. That could be ultra, quantum, or intras. Now, for a small portion of you, sorry, don't hate me. This is going to be a small portion. We have soulless. So this could be a non-character player, meaning like a hologram or a program coming from that. Like if you've ever, I don't know if any of you have ever watched like the Dead Files, where there's a medium, her name is Amy Allen, and she talks about people that have the ability for psychokinesis. And they have a lot of pent up emotions. They can actually manifest an entity, but it doesn't have a soul. It's just a manifestation of their abilities. That's sort of the non-character player thing that it could be, a manifestation of different programs. But also it could be that you have sold your soul, or your soul spark has went out and you've chose not to recycle it. So I want to say really quick, if you are some sort of angel or elemental or anything of the sort, you have soldier here. So you could be fighting against the non-character players or the soulless. You could identify the soulless people very easily if that's the case. So I think that could have been what it was talking about, because as I was picking up the cards, that sort of downloaded. So just keep that in mind, that you could be one of those that fight against the soulless. Something along those lines here for a small number of you. But like I say, for others, because we have 3 different types of souls here. We have non-character player, like we have soulless, but we also have interdimensional. That means you came literally from a different dimension. Or we have primordial void, which means you're here from the very beginning. So there's 3 different types. Okay. As far as location goes, we have, like I said, Hyades, Regulus, like places where Archangel Michael is associated, or we have Shala. And as far as your expression, it would be more of like something I don't know, or something not listed here, or an elemental of water, some sort of insectoid, or let's see, arachnid, reptilian, avian. So for example, like if you were a water elemental, you could be a water elemental scorpion looking, you know, something like that. There's just different categories here. Because elementals, the elemental group, you can be an elemental but look a number of different ways, is what I'm saying. So I hope that made sense. If that resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Anything like that really does help to circulate and support the channel. I do hope to see you next time. Take care and God bless. Hey, for those of you who chose group number 8, let's go ahead and dive in as mermaids do. We'll start with your channel messages first. There's not many if you didn't watch the intro. So the first thing I saw for you was Taurus. So this could be your energy. You could be very, let's see, Taurians are very stubborn, very slow, very earthy. Taurus has a lot to do, in the second house, has a lot to do with things we value in our possessions, things in the material world. But values can be sentimental even. But it could be dealing with the constellation of Taurus. So there's a lot of different examples there. See, so with that, you could be Aldebaran, Hyadian, Pleiadian, something like that. And then I really didn't draw this good at all. I saw sort of like a little piece of an image. It wasn't the full thing, but what I could see was the ears kind of, how do I put that? Frilled out. So it made me think of like an aquatic or amphibian being. For context, this is an example of an amphibian aquatic being drawn by Nazama, the Hebrew mystic healer, and the ears looked something like this. Elven, or elf even. So, like I say, fish, amphibian, elven, or some sort of elemental, but also Taurus. And it also has Archangel Michael and the Elohim energy with it. So let's get some more details with this very detailed deck. Group 8. So we do have elemental coming out already. And it could be any sort of planet. This originally had element Earth, like an Earth elemental, but since planets are not all Earth, I put planetary. So whatever planet you were elemental of that soil or whatever I want to say. So we have Ophiuchus on the bottom. If you are from Ophiuchus, they don't fear the dark. They're all about creation and destruction. They have to do with the dark mother energy. So that is the divine feminine energy that has been demonized in a way. They looked, some of them dino-like, bipedal dino. Again, this is by Nazama, the Hebrew mystic healer, and it is one of her drawings of a bipedal serpentine being from Ophiuchus. A lot of them looked like the dark fae, like a dark fairy. We did say fairy was a possibility. I guess that could be dino with the... So, some of them could have been serpentine on Ophiuchus as well. So that's a first possible incarnation location. Let's see what else you got here. So this is, I'm going to put these in the categories. Another location. Location. And this is a soul type. This has came out more than I thought it would. And this is an expression. Okay. So some of you were humanoid, which this was. It just had frills around the ears, for the ears. So you could have been a hybrid human. Like I say, elemental. As far as location, Ophiuchus or Aldebaran. Yeah, girl, did a good job. So they are known as like the guiding lights, Archangel Michael energy, or close to source, which is this is angelic energy or elemental. We have elemental earth, but this is also referencing Archangel Michael. So, and elementals are very similar to angels. So you are humanoid looking with whatever this ear situation is here. So you were like, for example, an aquatic humanoid fish, like a mer being, or amphibian, which would be like the Nomo, or elven, which is humanoid. You could have actually been an elemental. An elemental can include any of these. An elemental can look like a fish. An elemental can look like an elf. You know, you see what I'm saying? So you were humanoid, but you were hybrid with something else along these lines. Definitely Aldebaran, Taurus. Like I say, some of you Ophiuchus. Also, these were dino-like bipedal, so they were humanoid because they stood on two legs, but they still looked dino-like. So there's that, but also dark fae. Those are also humanoid. They're humanoid with dark wings usually. I didn't know what they looked like what people claim they look like on Aldebaran, so I didn't write it. So it's good that there's a lot of possibilities here with the humanoid sort of thing here, because that answered that question, right? But close to source. So yeah, definitely elemental, angelic, and primordial, which, like I say, does involve angels or elementals, usually celestial, but can basically incarnate anywhere. But I would say you are an elemental or angel being on around Aldebaran or somewhere else in the Taurus constellation. Yeah, Hyades, Pleiades, Elohim. I really like this one. So that worked out nicely. There's really nothing else to say. I mean, this is one of the shortest ones, but it really got straight to the point with it, and everything sort of fell into place and went together. I'll do more videos like this, but I wanted just to get this one out there and just sort of start on the origin, not really incarnations specifically, but your core resonances and things like that. So anyway, if it resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Anything like that really does help to circulate and support the channel. I do hope to see you next time. Take care and God bless.